The Trump people actually, there might not be anything he could do.
It started with the Access Hollywood tape.
She voted for Trump. She said, we are in trouble, and I made a mistake.
Let's hop into a CNN panel as they discuss and break down how Trump might finally be losing some support from his base that has been rather unwavering since he's rose to power. So be sure to like this video. It helps us out a lot. I really appreciate when you guys do it, and let's get right into the chaos.
For years, Trump's detractors, myself included, thought, well, this'll be it, right? It started with the Access Hollywood tape. I think a lot of his fans thought, oh, he can't survive this. He did. Then came impeachments. Then came Jan 6th, an insurrection. Then came criminal charges. He's a criminal now. And I think at every turn, his detractors thought, well, this will be the end of him. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of his voters. They don't care about impeachments and insurrections, morality, immorality. They care about their bottom line. And so they care about their bank accounts. They care about their retirement accounts, their home prices, the cost of goods. I think it was never, could he shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose voters? I think it's always been, can he shoot America, the political equivalent? Can he blow up the American economy and not lose voters? That's the test.
She is spot on with almost everything she's saying, even when Trump is bad for economics on a macro level, like in his first term causing a manufacturing recession even before COVID. I think having COVID happen at the end was good for him because he could blame most of the shortcomings on it, and then it put rose-tinted glasses on what he did prior to COVID, where now he's directly conflicting with people's lives on a personal level, firing VA staff to hurt veterans' healthcare and pensions, slashing Medicaid that funds half of the births almost in this country, and long-term, almost all the long-term care for seniors, food stamps for the lower class, directly cutting the phone service on Social Security, cutting 10% of their staff. And these are when people start pushing the alarm button, because these are the things that they actually rely on in their day-to-day lives, unlike Trump and the donor base.
I will only quibble with one part of this. I don't think that this is a conversation about Trump's voters. I think it's a conversation about swing voters, about the independents, the people who keep going back and forth, ping-ponging between Democrats and Republicans. The Trump people actually, there might not be anything he could do that they would leave him for. But the people in the middle, they don't like their money being messed with. And that's what's happening right now.
I think this is a good point. After fraud, sexual assault, an attempt to steal an election, lies about election fraud, 34 felony counts, 88 total felony indictments with a below average first presidency where he ended up shitting the bed during the first hard thing he had to handle in COVID and, just being handed a good economy before that. I don't think MAGA is going to be moved by anything. They're just in a cult. But those independents, the right-leaning independents, the specifically the swing voters who typically lean right, I think this is something they're not going to forget. Many of them rely on these social programs, and I think it causes a mass movement left like we often see after a Republican presidency.
The people in the middle who actually voted for Trump, who thought, okay, maybe he's a businessman. I hear this philosophy all the time. The election was about the economy. He's a businessman. He's a millionaire, soon to be billionaire, or could be. He's going to make the right decisions. And we're seeing in real time. And I'll share a personal story. I go home last week. My grandmother is 95. I always lower her age. She gets upset. She says, don't do that. She's 95 years old. She goes, I am 95 and proud to be 95. And she says to me, she looks directly at me, and I don't know how aware she is of everything, but she is very aware. She goes, I need you to start saving your money because the way that it looks now, and she voted for Trump. She said, we are in trouble, and I made a mistake.
Grandma knows.
95 years old. She lived in the segregated South. She says, this scares me, and I haven't been this scared since I was a kid.
And this is the true struggle for Republicans. They are the party for the donor, by the elites, for the corporation, but in order to win, they have to appeal to demographics that are typically in the middle or even kind of lower classes sometimes, that being largely veterans and then also blue-collar, typically rural and uneducated voters as the top 10%. Again, so you're not going to win a majority with that, but the reason veterans and these rural voters vote for Republicans isn't aligned with the policies that Republicans have to pass to soothe their donors, which is why there is always this friction. And now that Republicans, MAGA, Trump is being more brazen than ever about it, we're seeing a real backlash that is bigger than we've ever seen about it, where the richest man in the world as an unelected bureaucrat, and Elon Musk is on Fox News happily talking about cutting entitlements, calling Social Security a Ponzi scheme. Republicans have defunded the Minority Business Development Agency, the homeless homelessness agency, or pushing for these huge cuts to Medicaid, as I've discussed, food stamps, the huge VA layoffs, Social Security layoffs. I mean, like, where does the buck stop, and why haven't they targeted anything that affects Elon Musk's pockets, where he's making $8 million a day from the government? But the Defense Department, the Pentagon, none of these things have been targeted, but they also fail audit after audit. Again, people are starting to realize they've been duped, voting for a party that doesn't care about them, at least not in so much that it begins to affect their profit line.